Sirens of the Caspian Sea, the depths of the ocean we gather in splendor, sunken ships and treasure, luring sailors with our songs, hypnotic hymns, promises of bliss, whirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail. Following ships in the night, catching glimpses, but can you trust your sight? In the water your blood will spill, hypnotized by your song of life. Swirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail. I'm a figment of your imagination, our beauty, our song intoxicating, mesmerizing sound, ships running round. In calm or storm, you won't see the shore, your final resting place, the ocean floor. Swirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail. Swimming with the souls of men untold, watching their demise unfold. Never to grow old, their stories never told. The souls of the sea are now caressing me. Your final resting place, the ocean, the sea, the murder of men, no one will ever find them. Swirling and twirling, the warmth of the ocean, spinning with souls in motion. Take caution, my friend, this could be the end. A mermaid's tale, you're mortal, so frail.
All right, folks. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is PRT. Join us in the real reality. What is the screen doing here? Join us in the real reality. Bunch of stuff going on today. Bunch of stuff going on in the world, dude. It's nuts, man, what's happening right now. It's crazy. It's really crazy. So I had to do a cleanse last night of the ranch house because there's some activity that's been going on out there. It hadn't affected me up until now. But yeah, I was having to go room to room and deal with it, and had something weird happen. I saw something that most people would consider pretty terrifying. But not me. I'm super brave. I don't ever get scared. I just deal with it. No, it freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie. If I told you I wasn't scared, I'd be lying through my teeth. I it was a little freaky, but I dealt with it. Can't have people and pets and things getting messed with. So we moved our pig. He was not happy. He voiced his opinion
He
about
made
it.
it very clear.
He had a very strong opinion about what we were doing last night.
He had a strongly worded letter to us.
It was in pig Latin.
He couldn't write because with his hooves, and I'm in the middle of designing a pen that pigs can use to write, because everyone knows that they can write English, especially cursive. But if you could see if you could hear the things that this pig was saying to us last night.
My word.
I mean, I thought he loved me.
That mouth.
But
the neighbors heard it.
I don't know now.
And the neighbors are a long way away.
Yeah. I mean, like I've had in-depth conversations with Truffles, and about the stuff that came out of him that he was saying last night just really gave me another perspective.
It really hurt my feelings.
Yeah. I think our pig suffers from split personality disorder, like in that movie Sybil. And
or split.
I don't know. We might need to get him examined. Like if there is a pig psychiatry professional that someone knows, and I know I get it. It sounds like a racket, but all of psychiatry is a racket. So I mean,
Same thing.
There's got to be a pig psychiatrist, right? Someone who specializes in that. But we need help. Okay.
He needs therapy.
If there are pig psychiatrists somewhere, obviously, because their profession is such a racket, they're going to be extremely expensive. So we need you to donate your hard-earned money and cash in your 401k or your Social Security, whatever you have to do, and donate it to us so we can raise money for a pig psychiatrist.
Keep Truffles Happy program.
Perhaps a Catholic priest exorcist. We don't know.
Yeah, he was going crazy last night.
Yeah.
I need you or money.
And Honey Butters, while all that was going on, she decided to just take off.
Yeah.
She just bailed.
She was like, I'm out of here. Screw
We
this.
found her. She was hiding in the back. That's all it was.
She was like, I'll leave y'all to that.
Once me and Nellie went around the other side of the house, we had the truck and we put the light on it. We found her. But what's happening is the animals are being moved.
Yeah.
And they don't like it. They're not happy. They were comfortable where they were at, and I was like, look, you can't. This is gonna.
Yeah. Wedge Antilles says Truffle said y'all gonna learn today. Yeah, he definitely said that.
Yeah, he was pretty aggravated. He was not happy. He's been in the stall.
Yeah.
Pissed off for like all day.
Yeah, he's been pouting.
Loki's out there with my brother, and I can't. Hold on one second, folks. I'll be right back. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, give him some watermelon. Yeah, we need to, but it's not watermelon season yet, and I don't like these. I don't buy watermelon out of summer or late spring to early fall because you get these Frankenmelons, GMO crap. Around here, you can get fresh melon that are grown here, and one of our local grocery store chains, they have this whole thing. They take pride in like buying from local growers. And one of my friends used to actually, he doesn't anymore, but he used to sell to them. And you're getting stuff from here. They try to stay within the state if they can. But yeah, that's the thing. I want to make sure that we get something good. But all summer we buy him watermelons. But he's been kind of just, with my brother's been in bad health. Thank you, Gwen, for that donation. And my brother's been out of the hospital recently, so he's been able to kind of run free. People go over there, feed him, play with him, whatever, and then he's left on his own for a little bit. And then he gets real ornery. He's got his own little area, and he don't want to leave. Like, he wants that area. And last night he got to go to an area where he normally doesn't get to play. And so he was enjoying playing. And then playtime was over because we had to move, because we're moving from one side of the property to the other, literally to the heart of the property. And we're leaving that other place because, it's small and it doesn't, more people are going to be out there working and doing stuff. So we needed the space. And, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with that place yet. Maybe turn it into a bunkhouse or something. But he did not want to go. And he was very aggravated when we started trying to. He's really good with me and Anthony. He hasn't been around Tony enough in the last.
He's okay with me, but he's not as close as he is, I would say, with y'all.
With us, he's real if we're there, it's a lot easier to get him to calm down. But I had to do stuff up at the main house. So when I was at the main house, right, and I don't know how far exactly it is from that.
It's quite a
from
distance.
The little bunkhouse, but I could hear everything going on in the bunkhouse, like it was. I could hear it. And Nellie was like, "Oh my gosh, he's dying." I said, "No, he's just angry.
He's just a jerk.
He's just aggravated. He's not happy.
He's peacefully protesting."
Yeah. I mean, he's not violent at all.
No.
He doesn't bite.
He really could have hurt us.
If he wanted to hurt you, he can. He's a 120-pound pig now, but he's real compact. He's not like huge, but he's real dense. He's real. And when he saw me last night, he was happy to see me, And so we were just playing, whatever, and everything was cool. And he was happy to be able to move around different places, that he normally wasn't able to go because we were moving stuff out of there. So when we tried to get him out of that one area where he was playing, he was aggravated by that. But I called him eventually. He came. I'm one of the few people I don't have to bribe him with food. Like, me and Anthony can get him to come.
Yeah.
And probably Nelly too. Me, Anthony, and Nelly.
I have to go to him.
Most people got to bribe him with food. Like, I could get him to go. Come on, let's go, But everybody else, because when he was a baby, he was with me all the time when he was little. And so, I took care of him and stuff. So he knows me. But I remember like Bettina said it when she came to the house. He came into the kitchen. He was like looking at her like, "Who are you?" She's like, that pig was looking at me like, "Who are you? Why are you in my house?" He just kind of like don't know who these people are, and his little nose moving up and down. He's trying to figure out what's going on, And so yeah, it was a rough night. We had to get him, and so I checked on him this morning, like before we left, and he was still laying there and like he was mad. So I say his name, like Truff. He goes, Truff.
He was like, "Yeah, I'm here."
He'll let you know he's there, but he that's his way of being angry. And what he does is he goes into his little cage. It's like he has a little like dog kennel thing, and he'll sleep in there. But when he's upset, he sleeps in it backwards.
Yeah,
he'll crawl in it backwards, and he'll give you his butt.
Talk about butt.
And he'll just sit there and like his head is in there. He don't want to talk to you. That's his way of saying like kiss my ass. And I was like, okay, he's in a bad mood. But yeah, he likes all kinds of fruits and vegetables too. The only thing he doesn't like bell peppers or onions.
no, he will not eat them.
He will go all the way around and he'll eat anything. He's not a slop hog. You can't just give him slop and then he'll eat it. No, he wants certain things.
He's refined.
Yeah, he likes carrots. He likes watermelon, all melons. He loves melons. He
tomatoes.
Likes bananas.
He loves
tomatoes. Tomatoes. That dude will go crazy for tomatoes. He'll eat the heck out of some tomatoes. So that's kind of what he eats. And then, he'll eat meat too. But if he's given a choice, he seems to like vegetables more. I've noticed that because like I can give him meat and he'll eat the vegetables first, then eat the meat. So I don't know. He's kind of, He's a cool dude, man, and I think he's going to really like it because now we are taking over the back end of the property. So get this, we have plans. This isn't just some willy-nilly thing. We're going to have another channel we're going to build, and it's going to be based on the animals out at the ranch. So I am determined to not be in the business of, how should you say, killing animals. When you sell animals to somebody, okay, yeah, that's their animal. They, you know, I'm not talking about dogs and cats and things. These are pets. I'm talking about
Livestock. Animals.
livestock. When we have livestock, and we've had livestock, but I don't want to be in the business of these people we're talking about. They wanted to come and slaughter at our ranch. I said no. You know, if we're selling you the animals, what you do with them is your business. That's up to you. But I just decided, I was like, you know what? We're not going to do that. I don't want to sell animals for food. I know we need food and things like that, but I'm going to say something, and I don't eat a ton of meat. Like I'll eat meat, you know, but it's like, you got to eat other things too. You know, you can eat a lot of protein and not have to eat meat constantly, you know, and I'm not telling people what to do or be a vegetarian. That's ridiculous. And I'm not picking on vegetarians, but have you ever noticed like vegetarians, like I've been at a couple conferences and they're just like, I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, they'll tell you because you'll know it.
Yeah.
And me and Ken Gerhard, we were at a conference together. Funny because Ken's a little bitty dude, you know, he don't eat a lot of meat, but he eats a lot of protein, right? And we were sitting there talking and he was like, yeah, there was this, I'm not gonna mention any names, but they were like falling out.
Mm-hmm.
And Ken was like, they're a vegetarian. I was like, oh, did they tell you? He goes, yeah.
They always
And,
course
do.
they do.
and they're asleep. They have no energy. So I was over there like, I was laughing. I was like, okay. And BMR was at that conference. I told BMR, I was like, this dude. And BMR's like, oh, you know, I don't want to say anything. I'm not going to say who it was. And I said, okay, well, because they're obviously vegetarian. And they, but you know, I know a few that aren't, like David Weatherly's a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like that. But there's some of these people that like early in the conference, she's all like, I'm a vegetarian. I'm like, okay, like it was Sargent in San Antonio with the Kling brothers, right? Or the Ghost Lab people. And then by midday, I said, maybe you should eat a steak or some chicken or something. Like, oh no, I could never do that. I'm like, but you know, joking aside, I mean, we could all stand to eat a little less meat. Now, I'm not on board with this, you know, eat bugs, you know. I'm not doing that, you know. But yeah, I just decided, you know, I don't want to take it to where our animals, we raise them, you know. We're about to get a bunch of chickens out there, a shipment of them, you know, goats and stuff. And then, oh, well, thanks for playing. See ya. And then you just betray them, you know, like I can't do that. So, and Hot Rocks, you do what you want to do. I'm just saying we could all eat a little less. I'm not saying we because we're all overweight all over the West. Everybody is just overweight as hell, you know. And honestly, today we had dinner and I had 2 pieces of chicken and it was so damn salty, I couldn't even eat it. So I didn't even really eat much meat because the meat was all salty and nasty at the place we went to. I'm not going to say any names, but I was aggravated. You know, so I ate a big salad and I had some other stuff and it wasn't bad. I mean, I was kind of aggravated by the way it was, but I thought about it and I was like, you could go, like, say you do 2 or 3 days a week and don't eat a bunch of, you know, meat, especially red meat, because I eat a lot of chicken and turkey. And I just feel bad. I mean, like, I feel like a hypocrite because I'm over here loving animals and I do love them, but then you're selling them or whatever, or, you know, whatever, you're eating them. So it's kind of a conundrum for me. So what we decided to do, that's a long-winded way of saying, we're thinking about opening up a petting zoo. And we didn't come by this just by accident. We have a person who's told us for a while now. They're like, hey, man, I'll partner up with you. And he knows a guy down South Texas who has one. So I thought about it. And I said, you know what? Why not? And apparently there's another thing called goat yoga. Have y'all heard of this? Waiting for a response here.
Come on, guys. You're supposed to answer.
No, nobody?
A petty zoo?
Petting zoo. I don't know what a petty zoo is, but a petting zoo, yeah. Yeah, Amy Krill says yes, goat yoga. What is Dick Rich talking about? It's satanic. Get out here, Dick. You think everything is satanic. You overpay for a freaking, order of breadsticks at Domino's, and you think that they're Satanists.
You
Here
make
it
a
is.
good Baptist.
Yeah, he needs to go off and be a Baptist. What he needs to do.
Like one of those independent fundamental Baptists who show up everywhere wearing camo.
What about that guy? I want to say anything about my aunt used to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say her name. But my
Okay.
cousin Emily's wedding, and my aunt's boyfriend showed up. He's the only guy there wearing camouflage, like completely covered in camouflage. There were almost 500 people at that wedding. That was the biggest, best wedding I've ever been to. It was on our uncle's farm, and it really was a farm. It was a farm/ranch, and everybody there was dressed up like a cowboy because everybody's a cowboy, right? Except for me and this dude. We're the only ones not wearing cowboy boots. But I was wearing jeans, and I was wearing boots, but not cowboy boots. But this dude showed up wearing like military boots and dressed all in camo and was running around the property looking for snakes during the wedding reception. And I'm like, what? I asked, man, who is this dude? Like, what? He goes, have you seen any snakes? I go, yeah, there's a whole bunch of them out here. But we cleared them. We cleared everything out, preparing for this wedding. It was like a 2-month ordeal setting it up. I said, we came out here. We caught about 20 of them. There ain't no snakes out here. We got rid of them. He said, well, I'm going to find them. He starts screaming, dude. You remember this?
Yeah.
Right? This is a true story. And me and Zane go around the side of the building, and you know what he had? A water hose. He said, I thought it was a snake. He's like, I thought it was a snake. It was beige. I look at this and I said, man, what? It was dark. I said, man, maybe it's the lighting. This isn't beige. This is a green water hose. What are you talking about?
Thank you, kind sir. You saved a life.
And he's like, well, I'm colorblind. And I'm like, well, how the hell are you out here looking for snakes with your camouflage? Don't you get the hell off my uncle's property, you goofy ass bastard. He was a goofy son of a bitch. I'm sorry for saying all that, but the truth, he's a goofy ass dude, man. He's a goofy ass dude. And then I noticed the next time I saw him in the daylight, we were at a barbecue cook-off function. I showed up. It was at the 4-H. They had the big, where the kids come out with their goats and animals. I'm country, folks. I really am. People have said that I'm not. I wish that it was that case. I wish I was refined as you good city folks, but I'm very country. So I show up. We're at the 4-H, right? Thing. He comes walking up, eating the turkey leg. He's like this. I'm like, dude's cross-eyed as shit, man. I was like, no, realize it, dude. I said, whoa. I told my aunt, she goes, yeah, he's my ex. Why are you still hanging around with this dude? What is he doing? Why is he here? So another funny story, they bring out the sheep and he just walks out into the, I don't know how the gate was open. He just walked right through it and was walking across the dill while they were showing the sheep. And I was like, told my uncle, I said, what is this? What is he doing?
Well, he didn't know that you could see him because he was wearing
He's
the
camouflage. And wearing camouflage again, the same stinky ass clothes.
That's what makes him invisible. That's why he wears it to social gatherings because he has social anxiety. You see, so you show up in camouflage and you're there, but no one can see you.
That makes so much sense.
It's the trick.
Oh,
That's how they get you.
You know what? I haven't kept up. Somebody just said Iowa upset Florida. Whoa, okay. Whoa. Did Texas? Did they lose or did they win? Or they were playing. I think yesterday, day before yesterday. Did they win? Anybody knows? Look that up, guys. Somebody tell me. Because then I don't got to watch college basketball no more. Because I was supposed to watch it, but I couldn't have time. I saw the first round. Then I was at the gym like Thursday, and they were going to play. It should have been Friday. Did they win?
Yeah.
They did. Who'd they be? It was golly.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Yeah, the first round they played that it was a nobody team, but it was that they had that guy who was like the best in the country. He scored like 35 points or something like that. Texas still beat him. Anyway, that's just basketball, college basketball. I got my bracket. If I win, I get $20. $20.
Big bucks.
That's all I can spend right now. So I can't
20
do it.
smackers.
Last year I spent 50. They were like, "Hey, you want to play?" I'm like, "Put me down for 20." They're like, "Do you hear this awkward silence? Are you in some trouble?" It's like, "Nope." Oh, okay. Well, we have this pool now. I said, "Yeah, I know. This people I work with, right? They work for me." "Well, you sure you don't want to?" It's patrol people. I said, "No, I'm good." "Are we going to get paid?" I said, get off my phone. I got things to do. Right? I got to do the show. And maybe I'll put $20 more on there if I get enough. Obviously, I'm not. I only have one donation from Gwen, and that's it. Y'all sorry. Look at y'all. This is why I can't even put more than $20 down on my thing for my people. And
That's
you know
why
what
we
I
can't
do?
Gamble more.
Exactly. You know what I do if
We
I
can't
win?
send more.
I donate that to myself to go eat steak.
It's for a good cause.
For a good cause.
And
I
that
share a couple
causes
bites with my pig.
that causes my hunger
Yeah.
or my gluttony.
So, anyways, we got 298 people in here. Let's do something. I want to show you something. Did you have it set up?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to show you guys something because in this time of trouble and trials and whatever that's going on, we need a hero. And we need a hero from the old days. And what I mean by the old days, I'm not talking about Ronald Reagan days. That's not old enough. I'm not talking about Clint Eastwood in his prime, Chuck Norris, poor Chuck Norris, rest in peace, true American patriot. What I'm talking about is a real hero. Thank you, Dalton, for that. A true hero from the ancient times. Everybody knows Jesus is the most important hero ever. And then there's Alexander the Great, who's nowhere near Jesus, but he was pretty cool. But there was a man back in the day who was a man for the people. And he did this right before Jesus came. Jesus came right after him. But this guy, he did the right thing for the most part. He tried to be a good guy. And imagine if we had a guy like that nowadays. Wouldn't that be awesome? A guy that was there for the people. Who do you think I'm talking about? A guy that would do the right thing even when he didn't have to. A guy that they tried to villainize and destroy and did everything they could to get rid of him.
Who could this be?
But eventually, who could this be? Eventually, they did. They got their way. But before there was any of these other people, this guy was a man for the people. So I want you to check this song out, man. Let me get my headphones.
The world was
in.
worse off because of it. Because of their actions.
Dude, it was horrible.
But they got what they deserve.
Let's play the song. This is the new one from Nelly, and then as soon as this song is over, we're going to start talking about something crazy weird that happened to a guy named Tobias in the swamps of Louisiana. Let's get started on this song here, man. It's a little long. It's about 6 minutes, but after that, it's time to start talking.
Times of trouble, a pardon granted, no future, no fame, only a noble man's name, guilty by association, demands he would not stand, with a sword in his hand. He left to fight in foreign lands. Hail Caesar! A man for the people. Hail Caesar! A man for the people. Blood and bone, eventually the throne. This to him was intent unknown. A civic crown upon his head was bestowed for saving his fellow Romans. Fearless in battle, war after war, never bending or breaking. A name himself he was making. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Kidnapped at sea, 20 talents of silver for his release. Julius laughed at the absurdity, raised the ransom to 50. He swore to crucify them all once he was free. A promise he kept for their piracy. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, Julius, Pompey, and Crassus, the rule of three. A power behind the scenes, alliances made in secrecy. Julius reached the heights of command, sent to Gaul with an army in hand to conquer the foreign land. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, by Caesar's hand Gaul would fall. Loyalty and power was building, treasures and gold sent back to Rome. But whispers arose, senators' hearts filled with fear, for Julius' power was clear. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar. Rome was calling, stripped of his command. Julius had to make a stand. An act of war to cross the Rubicon together. The die was cast, he crossed with his army. Pompey defeated, and power was his. Julius. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, self-appointed liberators slipping away. Only enough to say and to rotate. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people.
Oh, well, what do you guys think of that? My wife made that.
Well, what do you guys think of that?
It's got an echo here. My wife made that, and it was a labor of love. And she didn't even tell me she was doing it. It was just yesterday, or was it Saturday?
Mhm.
And she was just like, check this out. And so she tweaked it a little bit, and then we ended up with that one. That's the final cut of it. And it's a long song, you know, it's 6-7 minutes, something like that, but it tells the story of someone. It's like a long poetry saying, you know. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty neat song, you know. Probably not going to use it for an outro because it's a little long, but definitely can use it for an intro or something when we get people in here. So give me your comments. Tell me what you think. She's made a lot of amazing music, a lot, and she gets very little credit for it. And if you guys could go like and subscribe to Paranormal Soundtable, that song will be released on Soundtable real soon. And we also have what's it called? Dead Zone Transmissions. Nellie's channel, Dead Zone Transmissions. Here's the weird thing: is like she on her Facebook post, she gets way more attention than I do.
Yeah.
But you know, and I got to say something. Somebody really aggravated me with this. I'm not going to say names, but you can go look. I don't care. But someone got on my Facebook and was like, "Can we go back to the days of, you know, what was it called, the Church of the Forgotten?"
Mhm.
I come here to get away from politics. I'm like, you come to my Facebook page to get away from politics? This is my personal Facebook page, lady. All right. I personally don't give a damn. All right. I'm not going to say your name, but that infuriated me because I'm like, that's my personal page. That's not PRT. It's not Paranormal Roundtable. That's me. I'm a human being, not a story machine to just repeat tales or whatever. And that really aggravated me because it's like, you don't, why the F would you come to my personal Facebook page to get away from politics? Don't go there. If you don't want to hear about it, about the world, that what's going on, fine. Come here to listen to the stories or whatever. But let's get one thing straight. I'm a human being, and you're definitely not going to want to go to Random Files if you're thinking like that, because that's my personal page. So you're going to get my personal feelings and beliefs on that page. Don't come say silly shit like that. You know, I'm not going to other people's pages that have, you know, channels and stuff like that. Why are you talking about your personal life and politics and religion and whatever? I come here to your personal page to get away from that. Like, well, you've come to the wrong room. I think you need to be down the hall, a one-on-one, you know, they're talking one-on-one down there. You know, lame people 101. They're teaching over there. Go how to be a lame person. Well, you don't need that class. You've already done it. And you really piss me off with that shit. How dare you come to my page and tell me that you come there to get away from, well, that is not PRT. We have a paranormal roundtable group. We have a paranormal roundtable news thing, whatever. We have a paranormal roundtable health, paranormal roundtable prayer, paranormal roundtable. I don't even know what all we got because I didn't make it.
Conspiracies,
Man.
Mandela
I like
effects.
that group a lot. Conspiracies and Mandela group. I hang out in that group. And then we got the paranormal round, the main page, whatever. When I'm involved in that one, I'm not really involved in the other ones too much, but I go there. I don't run those pages because I don't have time. But and most importantly, we have the Paranormal Roundtable page. It's not the group; it's the page. So if you want to go and complain that we're talking about politics on there, yeah, I mean, you could probably say that if somebody's. I don't think anybody's doing it, but if they are, you know, the conspiracies one kind of straddles the line, whatever. But what the hell would people? This is getting ridiculous, dude. Do you think I'm supposed to just be? And then they think it's about this war with these people that is just over and done with. We won. It's over. Okay. And they're like, oh, I don't really want to hear about that. I don't give a shit what you want to hear about. I'm sorry I had to interrupt the show for that, but that was just ridiculous, dude. I read that and I was like, need to make something clear here. I mean, like, that is my personal space. And I get invaded. My personal space gets invaded a lot. I don't mind it when I'm out and about, especially in my hometown or something, where people recognize me and they'll come up and they'll talk to me about the podcast, YouTube channel, whatever, if they're interested in that. And I'm surprised how many people actually do that there are that. But I don't have a problem with that because it's not like all the time. It's not very often, you know. It's like, but online, yeah. There's like a level of crap, and I'm just like fed up. I'm like, dude, don't tell me how to react or what to say or what to think. You're not going to convince me with your tripe of what you think is reality, because I know the truth. The reason I know it is because I research it and I study it like all day. I literally sleep 5 hours a day. I'm up before these two, like 4 or 5 hours before they get up. And I've already done a full day's worth of research and work. I'm not bagging on y'all, but you guys have to do a lot of stuff too. But let's put it this way, compared to the average person, I'm very well read. I don't need your effing opinion, right? Because you don't know, right? So come to my page and tell me that I should just, talk about parent, whatever. That is my personal page. Get bent, dude. Like, this sickening as hell, dude. Like, that just aggravates the living dog crap out of me. I just saw that and I was like, man, and I don't typically remove people's comments. I just kind of say whatever, I just let it go. But that is something else. I mean, so anyways, the story we're about to talk about tonight, and this is, if you look back and you see the pre-record that we did, not pre-record, the members only. There was a members only. Can one of y'all bring it up on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Show them what it looks like. You can go back and watch this one, but it's $5 to go and join the members only, whatever. I don't promote it or push it that much on here. It is what it is. Join if you want to join. $5 gets you in and you can watch the back catalog, read the back, or listen to or watch the back catalog. Every other week we do it differently. Every other week you get a live stream, and then the next week you get a pre-recorded drop. This was the live stream.
The very top one.
Well, here, just do it, and then I'll flip the camera over.
Right there, that very top one that says Gator or Gator Man. That's what it looks like.
There it goes.
Is it not working?
Yeah. Can you enlarge it? Can you click? It's not showing.
Whatever. Anyway, it's on the live tab. It's called Gator or Gator Man.
Let me get on this. I'll show you what it looks like, folks, and it won't take me but a second to do it. Right here. Okay. Guess I can't do it. It looks like that. Gator or Gator Man. So if you go back and you listen to that episode, it is a live stream, and it looks, I look like that on there talking. So if you haven't joined the members only, go join and check it out. That show, and then tonight's episode is like right there. You see it, Gator Man, Swamp Attacks. So this is a continuation of that, right? So that's what's going on tonight. So I had to so when we were talking, for those of you who didn't see it, you didn't get to watch it or whatever, I don't really want to have to go all the way back and go around. This story and this show will stand on its own. But I gotta tell you, you would be best served going back and listening to that particular live stream on the members. What this is a show. What this show is about tonight is about. It's not really so much about Pierre. It's about Tobias. Now, Pierre, these are Cajun dudes, right? They're from Louisiana and they hunt gators. That's what they do. Tobias was a big guy. He's about 6'3", and I actually got to talk to him. We did that show on Thursday, so I got to talk to Tobias early yesterday, briefly. I didn't get to talk to him very long, but I finished it up today. Here's what I got to talk to him about: was his encounter with what attacked them. Well, it didn't attack them. It attacked the first time it attacked, but the second time, which is the episode we talked about with Pierre. And originally it was a guy named Gory that got in touch with me. And Gory actually told me, he says, and they have the Cajun eggs, they talk like this. And he told me a Bigfoot story. And I guess somewhere when we were talking toward the end there, I said, is that it? And he goes, what, his story wasn't good enough for you? And I was like, no. And he goes, it wasn't? I said, no, no, I'm not upset with you about your story, Gory. I said, it's a cool story. It's scary. It's really, but I said, is that it? When you were like, are you finished? Because there was a pause there, right? He says, well, if you want a really scary story, I got more than this, Dad. I got another one about this creature in the swamp, and I can send you right to them boys it happened to. Now, if you know, if you were on the live with the members only, you already know. And so he says, and we even go into the origins of the origin story of what they say this thing is. So I'm not going to get into it here. If you want to go back and listen to the members only, like I said, it's $5. It's not going to break the bank, and you get access to a ton of shows and then whatever shows for an entire month, right? So anyways, this dude tells me, Gary, he says, you need to talk to a man named Pierre. He's got a friend named Tobias, and he's got a story. He goes, and Pierre is the guy that can get in touch with him. He's really good friends with Tobias. He's like, Tobias is a big old dude. He's like, and I don't know him as well as I know Pierre, but if you talk to Pierre, he can probably get you in touch with Tobias. So I did. And I talked to him, and it just, so hold on one second. So this person says someone's in a foul mood. No, I'm not. I just don't like it when people go to my personal page and insult me. That's just, how is that?
Oppose their will.
I just don't like that. Sorry, FA. I don't know you. I really haven't seen you much around here. FAFO. Does anybody know this person? So if you don't like it, you can leave. That's cool with me too. I'd like you to stay, but if you want to leave, you can leave. Like I say, we have a saying around here at PRT. We like quantity over quality. I don't just want any old jackball to come around, and I don't. Growth is okay, but it's not the main thing I desire. Growth can suck. It can really be a downer because you get all kinds of, what do you call this? Like mildly, not mild, but like people that just listen casual.
Yeah.
You get these casual listeners that are like, oh, well, take it or leave it, and then they'll go and they'll actually like go and tell you on one of your pages how they like all these other people's shows. Well, go listen to those other people's shows. Good for you. What shows do you listen to? And a bunch of people on PRT are like, well, we listen to PRT, and, they name a couple other shows. These people are naming shows that has nothing to do with us at all. And how much better they are. They're talking like they're so much better. Well, then that's where you should go. You should go to those better shows that do a better job, that don't suck, because obviously to you, we suck. But that's not really the truth. What the truth is that you don't like that I have an opinion, and I will actually voice that opinion because I also try to teach people the real reality here. And if you don't like that real reality, well, you can go pound salt. You can go live in the Matrix. That's where you belong. That's where you go. The abyss. When you're done, you'll just go to the abyss because you didn't figure it out. trying to help you, but you don't want to help. Well, you know what? A lot of people don't know what's good for them. So sorry. Anyways, let's move on. So this is what happened. I talked to this guy, and Pierre was kind of rough to talk to too. Tobias was pretty easygoing. He was a lot easier guy to get the information from, and I spent about half as much time. Not taking anything away from Pierre. Pierre is kind of rough around the edges. But his own admission, he said that this guy that we're going to talk about tonight, Tobias, is a scary dude. He's a big, strong, scary dude. He pulled an alligator up into his boat one time that was not ready to go to the other side, and it clamped onto him, and he beat this thing with a big stick, basically, and unalived it before they even shot it. Because when it was clamped on, they can't just he's trying to shoot this thing, and it's like the guy's like, and he's like, no, it's got my arm. So it tore part of his arm up real bad. He was out of commission for a while, but he managed to kill it with the other arm. And this wasn't no small gator. So you're not talking about some wilting willow scaredy dude like, what was that? It just runs off on his boat because he's terrified. That's not who these people are. These Cajuns are tough dudes. And one of my friends that I used to hang out with was Cajun, and he was a pretty tough guy. He was a prison guard, and he was a tech at this place that I used to be. And years later, like, he used to come to our club and hang out, and he could fight. He was tough, and I knew a bunch of them in Louisiana back in the day. And they're all fighters. I mean, they're tough people. They come from French stock, and it makes me mad when people talk about the French like, oh, they dropped their weapons and gave up. And yeah, okay, I know the whole story. The British fled and left them to die at Dunkirk. But for some reason, that story gets totally twisted around. 48,000 French that died defending their soil while the British ran away into the ocean. Not taking anything away from the British. They're tough too. But that kind of is what happened. And then the French get the bad rap. I kind of just, that right there really aggravates me, because the Germans even said, the French were, they put up staunch resistance, and they laughed because the English ran into the channel. Like, what are you doing? The Germans even joked that they should change it and call it the French Channel, and they should have charged the English a toll. The German officers are laughing about it. They left 68,000 pounds of armor on that beach, just in that one spot. It prompted Churchill to say, wars are not won by retreats, to remind people that we did something ridiculous, Well, that's what happens. So here's what's going on. Oh, Don, Rick and Dick are always talking trash. They're goofy. Don't even get involved with that, Don.
Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, they're just messing with each other. Dick's always in here messing with people, and so is Rick. Just let Rick and Morty be whatever. But here's the thing. Whenever that happened, and this is why war, and learning about these things are important, because people will shoot their mouth off about an event or a people or a thing, and what you're really doing is perpetuating a myth that was created by a particular group of people who messes with everybody and tries to make everybody believe that history is the opposite day. And that's not the way it is. I think the French really, they felt so betrayed by the English that spawned an entire regime called the Vichy regime. Look it up. They were fascist. And you know what? Because they said, if the English are going to run into the ocean and leave us to the Germans, maybe we're fighting on the wrong side. And the rest of the war, Hitler and the Germans didn't even have to do anything in the south of France. They policed themselves, and they set up an entire regime allied with the Germans. Did you know that half of France went along with them willingly because of the poor performance of the British at Dunkirk? And what's even more telling about that is then Manstein was commenting about how the German tanks were not on par with these big Matilda tanks that the British had. It was just a simple thing of them being overrun, not prepared, not trained correctly, and them running. Now, the British did rebound and come back and storm the beach at Normandy, but they had a ton of help at that point. They had the Americans. And the first few battles, the Americans were not prepared for what the Germans were given. They were handing out ass whoopings. And that's a whole nother story. I could get into the entire thing. There's a whole thing about it. Like, why did it happen the way it did? Until the Americans had a few battles under their belt, and they're like, hey, we got this, because we outnumbered them like 10,000 to 1. Like, why are we losing? You know, we have better equipment because they've already spent all of theirs. It's all on the Eastern Front. So you were fighting a skeleton crew against the Germans, and we, like I said, we outnumbered them 10,000 to 1. Like, how are you losing to these people? It's crazy, right? It's just sheer numbers on both sides. It was just a numbers game. That's all it was. But yeah. So these French people, this is why I'm telling you all of this. It's a long-winded way of saying that the French are tough people. And these people, they come from very backwoodsy, you know, trader stock, you know, like French traders and stuff. Can somebody kick Fafo out, dude? Where was Iran and all this, dude? I don't know, and I don't give a shit. But you can go play with your mama, dude. Get this guy out of here. I'll do it. And go, I got him. Ban and get him out of here. Go bye. Goodbye. He'll be talking crap, writing me an entire essay tomorrow about what a piece of shit I am. Go F off, dude. So I don't know what he's talking about. Where's your brand, dude? I don't know. Where's Iran at? It's in your mama's pants, dude. I don't know. Where's it at? I mean, can you even show us on a map where it's at? Because you just FAO'd with me and found out, right? So anyways, folks, sorry about that. Sorry about having to display, you know, this whoever this turd in the punch bowl is, probably Ike from wherever, Oklahoma. But anyways, here we got this situation where these people, now here's one thing I got to say about these French people, these Cajuns. When they came to this new world, one of the things they did that I really admired was how whatever Native Americans they were dealing with, they always managed to like become friends with them. And they would always trade with them. The French and the Germans both. We know this because in Texas and in Louisiana, we have French and German communities in both of these states. And they didn't get burned to the ground or messed with by the natives because they would actually make them really good deals and trade them actual livestock and horses and, you know, whatever, instead of wampum and brandy and beads, you know,
Yeah.
shiny trinkets to rip them off.
Here's a blanket.
Yeah, that's all the value in establishing good relations.
Yeah. And then it keeps you safe because if you ever look up the French and Indian War, the French were out there living a lot of those Corps de Bois, they called them. They were out there. The Corps de Bois were living with the natives. There were like 6 or 7, you know, big tribes that allied themselves with the French, and only 2 that went along with the English. Well, 2 big ones, right? There's a bunch of smaller ones. But it was called the French and Indian War, and really and truly, it was the French and the Indians versus the British, because the British were smug, arrogant, and they treated their own people like shit. And the French were like, look at how they treat their own people. We're not doing that. We're going to work with you. And so when they ended up going to Louisiana, a lot of them were displaced by the Scots and war at Nova Scotia. So these people, there's a whole history lesson behind that. Maybe I'll talk about it on Random Files one day. They end up traveling to Louisiana where there was a port there. And LaSalle, one of the Lafayette, I'm sorry, one of the pirates, he had like helped establish a reputation as a badass, you know, and he spent a lot of time in Texas. He toggled between Louisiana and Texas, and he was a famous pirate. And we talk about him on the show. We've talked about his exploits in Galveston and some of the hauntings and stuff there in Galveston, is like a whole thing. But he like brought a lot of the French people there, like to trade and whatever, and it just kind of stuck. It became there's even an area called the French Quarter. So there's a lot of these Cajuns. They're really, that's what they are. They're French, and they come from the trade and the trapping and all that, and they're from pretty hardy stock. Yeah. So, I mean, they're tough people, very tough people. And so that they're not prone to like terror or whatever, but when a Cajun tells you, they like to talk shit too. Believe me. I know a few of them. And they'll give you some bullshit, but they'll always say, I'm joking. I'm pulling your leg. You know, they tell you. But when they tell you, when they get real serious, they have this way of kind of laughing and then going like, okay, you know, and I do it too. But that's when you know people are being real with you. And I was at a tournament one time, not my thing. It was cockfights, and it was with people that I'm not really into that. So I went out of the truck and went to sleep because it was one of those derbies, and it just kept going. And I just didn't like. I didn't really like it. I didn't. It's not my thing, man. You know, people take their chickens, roosters, wherever they want to do that. That's you. I don't do that. I definitely don't do dog fights or anything like that. I can't stand to see animals be hurt like that. So my friends were there, but after the derby was over, we all went to go eat dinner. And I might have told the story before, but I was talking to some of the Cajuns there. There were Filipinos, Cajuns, and Mexicans. It's pretty much what does that. So we were all there hanging out, and those Cajuns were talking about creatures, boogeymen from their swamps down in the south. And it was interesting, some of the stuff they came up with in the bayou. And one of the things that came up was this creature that looks like a gator, but it's not. And it can climb up trees. So this is years ago, right? And I was with your stepdad, Tony. And we were there, and we were driving back, and, you know, your stepdad's like, you believe that? And these Cajuns over here crazy. What are they talking? Some crazy mess. I said, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what it is? I mean, but there are a lot of people who claim that it's not just Bigfoot and not just the Rougarou. Because when I was interviewing Gory and he was telling me his Bigfoot encounter, I said, and it was pretty terrifying, but I said, are you talking about the Rougarou? And he goes, no. That's out there too. He said, we got this other thing over there. It's like an alligator, like a gator, but not a gator. And I said, okay, I've heard this before. You know, and turns out I have like a couple of stories there in the files. One of them was from Florida, right? So I told him, I said, are you talking about this gator man lizard thing? He goes, oh, no, not a lizard. It's like a gator. But it climb up a tree. It fall down on your boat. It come up out of the water, attack you. It grab you and take you down. They talk about this thing like there's one, you know, like there's only one creature. I don't believe that. And the legend, their story that they told, I told that story on the live that we did for the members only. And they said some pretty crazy stuff to me about a witch and, you know, all this stuff. Who knows? But I do know this. When he got me in touch with Pierre told me what happened to him. And we told that encounter, right? But Pierre, when he was done, he said, let me tell you something. He had kind of a gruff voice. He said, let me tell you something. You got to talk to Tobias himself. And that man there, he going to tell you the truth. He going to handle it. He going to tell you. And he's talking like he's going to send me to somebody to get beat up or something. He going to handle it. I'm like,
He's going to take care of you.
He's going to handle me? What is this? You know, it's like the Jehovah's Witnesses when they knock on your door. Jesus loves you. I'm like, where? Who? My neighbor? The dude from Mexico? You better not be spreading no rumors, man. We don't need this crap around here.
He does. Jesus, I love you
I don't
too.
need people looking at me funny, man.
Next day, I'm walking in with my laundry to the you know, because I used to have a washing machine. I was, you know, as a young guy, and I'm like, Jesus, we need to talk. Some people came up here and they told me you're in love with me. And he's like, no. He's like scratching himself. No, I think I got bed bugs. Oh, okay, never mind. We're good. Ooh, took my laundry, got out of there, and I was like, we're good. Hey, Jesus. He goes, do you love me? I mean, we could talk. I said, no, I'm good. Time out on that. We're not doing that. Whoa. They confused me, Jesus. But yeah, no, it was a mistake. They just saw a Latino because, you know, I opened the door wearing a sombrero and I had a tequila bottle and I had a, you know, poncho on, had some tacos in this hand. And I was like, what's going on? And they didn't realize it was a costume party at a birthday. And these Jehovah's Witnesses were confused and they said, Jesus loves you, sir.
But
And
why
they gave me a
you're
watchtower.
Mexican? I don't get it.
Huh?
That seems like standard gear. I don't understand why they thought you were Mexican.
Exactly.
They're
It was
racist.
strange.
They're
Racist
just
people, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then I had my mustache turned upward, and I had, you know,
Yeah.
a bandolero on me.
That's what it was.
That's what did it. But anyways, yeah. So joking aside, no, I'm kidding. Seriously. So I talked to him, and Pierre said, you know, he's I'm gonna let him handle you. You know, you go over there, you talk to this guy. Tobias, he tell you his story. You don't believe me. He kept acting like I didn't believe him. I said, dude, what are you talking about? You're like I don't believe you. I said, do I have to be Cajun to believe you? Is that what it is? So he didn't like my impression, though. He started laughing. He laughed and laughed. He said, you sound kind of like my brother. He's like, my brother sound kind of like you. And he's got a real deep voice. He said, my brother don't talk as deep as me. I said, well, he's just not as manly as you are, Pierre. All right. So Pierre, he gets me in touch with Tobias. And when I had called Pierre, it was like, hello. This dude did not. He would just, oh, you won't hear about that story? And he started telling real quick. And I couldn't understand half of what he was saying. I said, well, you have to slow down, dude. So I got in touch with Tobias. I was totally prepared for the same thing. I was prepared for the guy to go, hello, and just start rattling it off. Instead, he was much more slow, deliberate, even-tempered. And so it was easy to talk to him. And Tobias says, I'm going to tell you like this. What did Pierre tell you? I said, well, he said you were really scared that day when y'all went out there. And he goes, uh-huh. And I said, okay, so this is kind of funny. And I said, when you went out onto the boat, and he said that they had to come and get you and kind of, force you to go back out into the swamp, into the woods, because you were so unnerved. I didn't want to say the word scared because he kept saying he was scared. He was scared. And so he says, yeah, I was. And I said, well, you're back out into the swamp now, aren't you? He goes, uh-huh. I said, okay. How long did it take you to get back out there? He goes, about 2 years. I said, Tobias, they said it was about a month or 2 or 3 months, whatever. He said, yeah. He said, but I leave my nerve at the house. He's like, I just go out there and I go in like a robot. I do what I got to do and I get the hell out of there. He's like, I don't have my nerve. If I hear noises and something weird, I leave. I said, really? I said, still? He goes, I'm getting better. And I got to say, and I will back up what this man is talking about, because once I saw the dogman creature, whatever you want to call it, werewolf, whatever, it took me a while. I didn't have nerve out in the woods. It was hard. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I'm a brave Superman guy, whatever, because when you see something that's almost 8 feet tall that looks like it can eat you and use your bones for a toothpick, you really start to know your place in the universe and that you are not on the top of the food chain. Now, I may be somewhere near the top if it just came to the human species. But when it comes to just being overall, and think about this, we've talked about what these creatures could be, the Eliud, right? That's a more specific type of Nephilim. They're kind of on the bottom food chain, if that's what they are. Imagine the other things that were there. And they're now demons. Not the fallen angels, two different things. But it's interesting to think about, right? So this is what Tobias told me. He says, let me tell you something. If you go out there in that swamp and something happened to you like this, you tell me, you still be so brave and go out there every day. Job or no job, ain't nobody want to die. He go, you ever heard that saying? Everybody want to go to heaven, ain't nobody want to die. I'm the same way. He go, I'm just a man. I'm 6'4", I'm a big guy. Almost 300 pounds. He's like, I'm strong. I work out. I got lots of energy. I've always had that ability. Go work out, go hunt. Built my own gym right there in my yard. He's like, I live on the bayou. He's like, but it was hard to get a wink of sleep after what happened to me. And I'm going to tell you this tale, and you tell me what you think. You think I'm lying, you go on ahead. You can hang up the phone, don't ever call me back, and don't talk about it on your show, anything. Or you can tell the whole story. I don't care. This is the truth. I said, yes, sir. I'm listening. He said, I go out there. He go, it's hot out there. It's spring, but it's already getting hot in the swamp. As always, just 100% humidity. Crazy. Water all over the place, all in the air. And you dehydrating. I said, I know how it is. I've been in the jungle. Spiders everywhere. You run right through them, you might get bit on your neck. If it's the wrong kind of spider, might eat all the way through your freaking jugular vein. You don't know. The rot. He's talking about the necrotoxin of some of these beasts. He claims that there's spiders that we probably never even classified. And he's probably right. He sent me a picture of one. It's a weird looking thing. And I told him, I said, where the hell is that from? Iraq? No, that's right there in the swamp of Louisiana. Strange, weird things happen there. Panthers, walking around on 2 legs and 4. Weird rougarou, another one, like a wolf, walking around on 2 legs. Witches, strange familiars, bird people talking, weird things happen there in the swamp. I know, because I've been there, been to the swamp. You hear all kinds of stories. You hear all kinds of tales. I don't know what's real and what's not in there. I'm not from there. And have I ever been gator hunting? No, I haven't. I've seen a feeding one time, and that was enough for me.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, they're terrifying creatures. I saw a big old, like, 13-foot male, like, just snatching up chickens at this snake farm. It's crazy. But so I don't pretend that I've been out and on the boat and, but I've been in the swamp and I've driven through there and I've walked around in it with some friends of mine. They had some property and it's a creepy place, especially at night. So he tells me, he says, I go out there to this one spot and supposedly there's some pretty nice sized gators out there. When you go into these places, according to these hunters, he's like, you don't know what you're going to get because in some of these places, if there is not certain numbers of smaller gators, then that means one of two things. That means that they're either moved on because of the mating, whatever, or there's one really big gator there. And you're only going to get some females when they need to breed. And you're going to get this one big dude that's just going to take over a cove that's his. So he goes, I go to this spot where there's this really big gator everybody's talking about. He goes, and at this point, I just want to do it for a trophy. He had been hunting gators for over 20 years at this point since he was young. And he wasn't afraid. He goes, I'm a big guy. I ain't afraid of nothing, man. Yeah. And he says, but me and my friend, we go out there and we take a little boat out there, and they catch these gators and they shoot them, and whatever. And he goes, and I said, there ain't nothing out here. I ain't damn near one gator out here. He's like, but then, he's like, I see the bubbles. I said, oh, there's a gator down there. Big boy. Lots of bubbles, big. It's about to come up. And I'm going to pop him real good. I don't know if my boat's big enough for this boy. He goes, I could see the ripples of the water. It was crazy looking. And then just as it came, it was gone. And then I done seen him moving up onto the shore. And I see this thing pulling itself up out of the water. He's like, and it was crazy. I didn't see a gator. I saw half a gator with its guts and everything in it coming up out of it. And it laid down there and died. Because something in that water done kill it. That's how he talks. And I'm sitting here listening to this, and he says, ain't nothing that you can kill that 14-foot big old gator like that's a big boy. He said, I'll bet you that thing weighed over 1,000 pounds. Big old guy. He said, but what I saw come up out of that water, chewing on him, was something straight out of a fairy tale that was written by the devil. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And he said, he done snacking on that gator. He's eating his liver. And he's just chewing. His head is big, but not as big as this gator he done killed. He goes, but he got these claws that look like he could just poke your eyeball right out with a tap. And me and my friend, we watching this. His friend's Jeremy. He said, me and Jimmy, we watching. Then Jeremy says, let's get up out of here. He said, he's in the way. And he's walking on 2 legs. Then he's eating. And he's got arms like a man. Upper body like he Olympic athlete, weightlifter, big guy. My words, an Olympic athlete, but he did say it was a big deal. I said, like an Olympic lifter? He's like, yeah, somebody should be in the Olympics, yeah. I said, oh my gosh. And he says, this thing turns, don't look at me. And he said, it just shook its head. It was chewing on that liver, and it was just staring through us like it did not give a damn that we was sitting there watching it eat this other monster. The other gator lay there and died. I felt sorry for that big old boy. I was going to kill him, but I'd have put him down a lot more peacefully. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's a better way to go. Quick and, efficient, rather than being torn in half and chewed up. He's like, and then something caught my attention. There was a ball of light. Kind of weird. He goes, about 2 days before that, about a couple miles up the bayou, I was seeing this weird green ball of light spin around, go around my truck and go on. And so I had to ask, I said, go on where? And he said, up. It just went up and disappeared into the sky. Weird thing though. He goes, I go home. I'm with my girl, Tammy. That's his girlfriend. He goes, I tell her about it. She fries me up some bacon and eggs, and I eat, watch a little television, and then go to sleep. I had the weirdest dream ever. This weird thing happened. The green ball dropped an egg into the water. And out of that egg came this weird-looking creature crawling around like a gator, but not. Something maybe older. Had little horns on his head. I didn't know. I just woke up and said, man, I got indigestion. Too much Tabasco in my eggs. What you think of that, Mr. Wolf? Well, I think you had too much Tabasco in your eggs, sir, and I think you need to stop drinking. That's the problem. All you Cajuns have a problem. The rum.
I think you're crazy.
And I hung up. That was the end of the conversation. I would have loved to finish the story, but alas,
crazy man.
He's a crazy man. Yeah, Tony was there. Tony was like, what is wrong with this guy?
He's drunk on Tabasco.
This guy's crazy.
You can't, how can you reason with a man like
Anyway,
that?
we're moving on. We're gonna
He's
talk about
rambling.
something else.
He's rambling on rum. He's rumbling.
He's going to be on the next Rumble, rambling on rum, on the Rumble, while he rambles on the rum.
The Rumble Files.
Rumbling.
the Ramble Files. But anyway, no, he just, seriously, he says, I think I had too much Tabasco on my eggs. What you think, Mr. Wolf? I said, you probably did. I said, did you drink anything? He goes, no, not at my meal. He said, but I did have shots of whiskey before I laid it down. And I said, okay, so then you drank right after you ate. And he says, no, before I went to sleep. That's helped me go to sleep. I said, oh, okay. Groovy. Groovy, man. Keep going. So he tells me, he says, I wake up again. I had this weird dream. He goes, but this was crazy. He goes, my grandma done been dead for 2 years, and I see her in the swamp, and she says, don't come out here. She called me Toby. She said, Toby, don't be coming out here no more. This is it for you. You got to go on. And they don't be coming out in the swamp anymore. And then for you here. She said, you know how to do things. Go be a mechanic with your brother. I told her, Nene, I ain't going to be a mechanic with my brother. I don't guess what I do. My job. That's how I make a living. I'm not going and working in no monkey wrench job. So to his credit, he stuck by his guns. And he told the ghost of his grandmother to go pound salt and went and did it anyway. Yeah, probably not what I would have done, but I'm not him. And I don't know his situation, and I don't live on the bayou. I live in Texas. Right? So he says, yeah, I go back out there, and this is what happened. That guy, that thing was right there in front of me and Jeremy, and we in a cove, and I don't know which way I'm going to go to get away from this thing. He goes, because I thought maybe it's more amphibious, but it's prone to the water. Maybe it can't run real fast. We didn't really get a good look at his legs, and he had a little stubby tail, but then it went up onto the land, and it just crawled up a tree faster than a spider. And I said, oh, no. He's a funny guy. And he was like, and I wasn't even smoking the crack pipe that day. And I said, what? He goes, I'm playing. I don't smoke no crack. I'm sober as the day I was born. I'm up there. I'm looking at this thing. I got a little tobacco in my mouth, but that's about it. Nothing to make me, he was trying to fumble for the word. And I said, hallucinate? He said, exactly. No hallucination. This was a real thing. And it was up there in that tree, laying down on the tree like a gator would lay down on the ground. But ain't no gator can climb up no tree. And I heard stories of this when I was a kid. He said, but I ain't never believed none of that bullshit. Excuse my language. That's what he said. Thank you for that donation. Loyal cult members. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie.
And he
You're
says, I never believed in none of that. That's a bunch of poo-poo, huh? Right? One of my friends, he said, Raleigh, he told me years ago, he's a black dude. He said, I was out there one night near the witch's shack. If you know, you know. If you've heard the story from the members, you'll know what this is. I'm not going to get into it. And he says, he was over there by the witch's shack. We just a few kids over there shooting our guns, looking for snakes, having some fun. Somebody said, hey, let's go down to the witch's shack. Let's go hang out. Are you scared? Riley said, no, I ain't scared. Let's go. Then me and a couple of Creoles and a Cajun boy, we go down there. Cajun boy out there beating everything with a stick, trying to find them snakes out there. We heard a noise. Somebody coming, running around out of that shack. And he's like, I thought for sure somebody's out there trying to hustle us, mess with us. We heard talking, words, some grumbling, growling. One of them boys done said, it's a Rougarou. My mommy done told me about this. We got to get out of here. It sees us. It's going to eat us. And then there was an explosion in the water. Big old explosion. And them boys done seen something come up out of the water. It looked like something from Batman. Crocodile Man is what he said. I think he's talking about Killer Croc. I was like, he had me on the edge of my seat when he did the boom thing. I was like, kind of jumped, and I was like, oh, he's like, you okay? I said, yeah, my dog, get out of here, dog. Why are you trying to scare me? I was like, kind of feeling at that point. I was kind of looking around going, oh, there's water. There's no water around. There's a toilet over there. I didn't take a shower for 2 days. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. I felt clean.
Of course.
That was unrelated to the
I
story.
felt clean.
That was unrelated to the story. That was just your own person.
That was my own vendetta against water, Just kidding. No, he startled me. He did that. He told a good story, but it was sometimes kind of hard to understand because he was a little bit too Cajun, But he says, and them boys told me something exploded up out of that water. He said, I thought, this is crazy. I'm looking at what Riley done told me should not exist in this swamp. He's the only one that ever told me that he had seen it with his own eyes. The other guys he was with, one of them said, I don't know what we saw and wouldn't tell me. And the other two, I don't know them and lost to time, I guess. But he tells me, he says, I personally didn't know what to believe. And even sitting there looking up at this creature, he's like, which is about 7.5 to 8 feet tall. That seems to be the average a lot of times. And I'll be honest, because he didn't know exactly how tall it was, but I said what I saw was probably about 7.5 to 8 feet tall. He said it's probably about how big this was. He estimated this creature probably weighed 600-700 pounds, and it moved so fast. He said it defied, reality. My words would be it defied the laws of our known physics, right? Weird creature. What this thing did next was what really got me. It just laid there like it was full from eating its meal of a fellow reptile. He said, we took off. We went onto the other side of that cove and we rowed our boat. We drove our boat down. He said, and then this thing lifted up its head because it wasn't done with us. He's like, and then it just jumped right into that water and landed about 15 yards away from my boat, which was moving as fast as it could. It's not a speedboat. He said, my boat moved like a tugboat, not fast. And it could not outrun this thing. He said, and this thing began going towards us. He goes, and I don't know why it decided to do this. It already ate whatever that was, but I think it was something territorial, he said. And he said that it began to swim alongside, and he goes, and I see the tail powering this thing, and it's moving. He goes, and it's effortless. He said it was moving with no energy. It didn't take no energy for it to do that. My words, effortless. was like, you're kidding me, dude. It's just running alongside your boat. He says, yeah. And then all of a sudden it just jumps up out of that water. And then it, bam, right onto the boat. And we both go flying backwards off of that boat. We was trying to get onto the shore at that point and take our chances. And then we're both in the water, and this thing is now down in the water somewhere. And after you see something like I didn't see it kill that alligator, he said, but I saw the aftermath. He said, what I saw that gator laying there after it was done with it, I was so scared. I was really scared. The fear in my bones, he goes, and I got up on that shore and I was crawling. And every scary movie I'd ever seen in my life coming back to me. He told me, he was like, you ever seen that movie where the girl was in the basement with a gator? He said, I cursed that movie. Why did I watch that shit?
I think I know movie.
I don't know. I didn't know the name. I didn't look it up, but he told me about this movie. And I said, yeah, I remember. I don't remember the name. Maybe somebody in the audience does. But he goes, dude, he told me, he says, sir, I cursed that movie. And whoever made it. Because I watched it one time. I thought, this is a bunch of hooey. I ain't scared of no gator. But if you down there in the shit with it, you won't be scared. He said, all my years hunting down in the bayou, I ain't never fell off into the water where the hunter becomes a hunted. And I'm crawling up out that water.
Crawl.
And he just says you crawl. I just said crawl. He says, I'm crawling up out that water. And my friend, he's screaming. And he was terrified. He said, something got my leg. And I said, oh, no, my friend is dying. He's going to die. I had to make a decision. Do I try to save my friend? And he said, something strange happened. He says, this thing pops up out of the water, hunched over, breathing hard, looking at me crazy with these orangey looking eyes. And he said, that son of a bitch was right there in the water looking at me. And I'm looking back at him, and I wish I could kill him. But I can't because my gun's now in the water. I was too scared to take that shot. What if it don't kill him? What if the story is just true and there really is some kind of hate? What if it's a demon and you can't kill it? What if you just piss it off? What if? I should have just did what I had to do because now it's got my friend. Or does he? He said, I look, and there in the middle of the water is this creature, and it's standing there, and there's my friend, about 20 feet away, and he's screaming, he's got my leg, and he's like, what the hell? I go up to the edge of the water, and I reach in, I grab him, I pull him, and his leg is cut from his knee all the way up his thigh, and he's bleeding so bad, and there's a big old stick, tree branch, fall down into the water, up there on his pant leg, and it just cut him, gashed him real good. I said, boy, you bleeding, but it ain't that thing there. Pulled him up to the shore, and this creature, he's sitting there breathing. And this is the part that I thought was interesting because Pierre and them, when they had their encounter, they didn't talk about this. And he didn't tell me this. Tobias says, I've always been a Christian. I asked him, I said, did you think about praying? He goes, well, I was praying. I've been born again 17 years. He said, so I prayed. And I cried out to God. I said, God, please save us from this monster. I don't know what this is. If this is your creation, whatever, please. And his friend is like screaming, Jesus, help us. Jesus, help us. He goes, and that thing just went backwards into the water, flipped over and took off into the water. I didn't waste no time. I flipped my boat back over. We found one of our guns, got in the boat, and we got out of there. My friend was bleeding bad. We got him to the hospital. Nasty cut, gashed him real good. And the nurse is like, hey, what happened to you guys? And he's like, you don't want to know. And if I told you, you wouldn't believe me anyway. And he's like, so if you want to believe, believe. You don't want to believe, don't believe. I don't care. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, and that's what I saw. He's like, now, when I went out there with Pierre, we saw it again. Same place, 3 months later. I did not want to be there. God done delivered me twice. He goes, I'm not going to make him do it thrice. And I didn't go back out there because what's out in that swamp ain't nice. I was like, wow, you're a poet and didn't know it. Interesting. Yeah. Colorful guy, and decided that it was best if he didn't tempt fate again.
Smart.
He says, I don't tempt the Lord thy God. He's like, but I do hunt now. But like I said, I don't have the nerve I used to. If I hear something spook me, I leave.
Well, that's a smart thing to do anyway.
Mhm. He said the Holy Spirit tells him. I mean, me personally, I don't know when people say that the Holy Spirit talks to them. He says the Holy Spirit talks to him, like in his mind, and tells him, get out of here, go there, whatever. But he says, I don't hunt down there no more. He said, one of my friends said, hey, let's go down there to that cove. And you go on down there. I'm not going down there. There ain't nothing for me. And he says, and if you go, you're taking a chance. The witch shack ain't there no more. He said, but there's still something there to roam that swamp. And it ain't good. It ain't no good. So that's his encounter. That's his story. And if anybody has any questions, anything I might have missed, and you can jog my memory, and I'll try to tell it. But
It's crazy that this is the first time I've heard of the Gator man kind of creature. I don't know if you remember, but back when, way back when we were first doing the shows, one of them was about a dog man who was in the swamps, and like I think it was a hunter as well, and like he sees this dog man start walking, and he gets too close to this river or like this water, and this alligator headed creature pops out, and they just start fighting. And that's when the hunter just like books it.
yeah, it pulled him in or something.
Yeah, like
that.
they started fighting.
That was in Florida.
Yeah, but it's just it's crazy that like, you know, these things are out there, and like that there's still just ambush predators who just hide in the water and attack whatever.
And another weird thing to that, I remember that one. Another weird thing to that story, the guy that told us that one his name was Taylor. Yeah, I thought it was funny because Armando was like, this guy's name is Taylor. I think he's the one that fielded that one originally.
Yeah. That's why I said it was way back.
Yeah, it was way back. And I don't remember if we told it on the show or if we told it on the other show, the other guy's show. But yeah, it was crazy, you know. And we don't get a lot of stories about cryptids clashing with one another. We did one recently. Was that a regular episode? Was it the Bigfoot?
That was alive, right?
Yeah, it was a live
alive.
stream.
Bigfoot and Dogman getting into it. You know, and I got a couple people critiquing me like, oh, well, they really didn't even do anything to each other that they know of. Well, they were fighting, but they didn't get a good look at it. Sorry if they didn't. Let me call these young girls back up that were, you know, in their 20s, scared out of their mind. Hey. Look, next time you see a werewolf fighting Bigfoot, I want deets, all right?
I need the data.
I need the data for my show.
Give me the peer.
All of a sudden, you guys aren't into the details.
Okay, man. Sound like an entitled, you know, frat boy. Look, man, I talked to my dad, and he's not happy with the way you told that story. My dad's going to come down and be very angry at you.
Bring me facts and evidence next time. Thank you very much.
How dare you turn
you
your
young girls needed to be paying attention to that crap. You're a disgrace. You're just you know.
Shoot,
thank you for
waste
that.
my time with such.
Thank you so much, Debbie and Rita. You guys are awesome as always.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Look at that. Debbie Cawthra
and Rita Burnett. Thank y'all so much.
You guys are always so cool.
We always get
That's
those
incredible.
home runs, man, that help the show keep going. I'm telling you, that's what keeps us going right there. Thank you so much for that. For the rest of you, y'all are terrible.
You're
You're
also there.
terrible audience. You look at this microphone, slaving over a hot microphone, trying to imitate, you know, this guy's voice as best I can. You know,
You're lucky Rita's
now,
coming.
one day I'm going to run into
your
Tobias. She's probably going to come at me and club me like a baby alligator seal. You done made fun of my voice, huh? You want to do that? Boom, boom, boom. He's beating on me. I'm like, it's for the audience. Your audience don't even care about you. And only had 2 of them gave you a good donation. The rest of them ain't worth nothing. I don't know that he would say that, but if he was, he probably would.
We're paraphrasing, but that's basically what he'd say.
Look at me. I'm the Cajun now. Yeah, we're paraphrasing. We're paraphrasing your parents. Like, you know, so these people are doing these things. You can fly, Bobby. You got to do what you got to do in life. No. Hey, Tony, you getting up? Grab me a drink. Yeah, or maybe do we have any Pura? I don't know if we have any, but yeah, thank you for that donation, ladies. But yeah, I mean, these people were critiquing, like they should have told more about about the fight or whatever. I can't make them spit out deets that they didn't see. Thank you. You know what I mean? Like I said that too. I was like, dude, how am I supposed to? I can't make them. Oh, you didn't see more than that. Like you need to be seeing this. You know, like sorry. Rick Dalton says, "Are you open to questions?" I don't know. Well, from you, who knows? What kind of craziness is it going to be? As you can see, he's a very busy man. Look at his profile there of a man jumping around.
Doing parkour.
He's in parkour.
Teaching classes to
What do you need to know,
little
Rick?
kids.
Tell me. Ask the question with your goofy self. What do you got for me? Oh, Dimensional Walker says, "What did you see in the barn?" Well, okay. So, and Rick says, "Ladies first." Well, you're not a lady. I know this dude. He's gonna get mad about that. I'm kidding, man. Calm down, Rick.
It's not cool, bro. Yeah,
Thank you,
man.
Julie, for that. Okay, so I didn't see it in the barn, but I'm glad you asked. What did Julie say? Thank you for making me blue. What happened?
She's a mod now,
Oh, okay, cool.
and she's chomping at the bit to ban someone.
Don't do that. don't because take it easy with that deal. Okay.
She's drunk with power already.
Oh my gosh.
After one night with the wrench, it's just it's gone to
And
her
then she
head.
hears the Hell Caesar song and she's like, "Bring on the Celts." Where
Yes.
are they at? No, we're not. Okay.
Bring me their heads.
Where is Vercingetorix?
She's looking for she's looking for the right neck to just guillotine.
Yeah. Queen Boudica.
Yeah.
So what I saw at the house, this is crazy. So last night we moved because there's really what I call like the bunkhouse, which is up front, which is where my brother was staying, and he's probably in the audience. No offense to him, but that place is a dump, and I don't know why you would stay up there. So we moved him and a lot of the stuff into the big house in the back. And the big house needed some work. It had a lot of stuff. The people that were staying there, they really just kind of like didn't, when they left, they just left a bunch of their stuff there. They didn't like trash it out, but they just left a lot of their junk. They didn't take it with them. They neatly piled it up all around, in piles. So it's been taking days and days of us to move it out, and we decided we were going to take over that property once they left, and they did. So we're lease was up, whatever, and so we decided to take it over and move. So the bunkhouse is no longer. I mean, it's there, but we don't need it. I mean, and so Loki and my brother, Lucky's got a giant, big old travel trailer, a really nice one. And so he has it parked out there by the bunkhouse. And so my brother is just like, I mean, it's a much better deal. I mean, of course, but my brother's like, he's one of people like stuck in his ways. He's like, "Oh man, I like this here, and I'm gonna stay here, give me another week." I said, "No, we got to do it now. We got to get done before the first of the month. I want to be out of the bunkhouse." So we did. And so I go back into the main house, and I'm very good friends with and close with the people that used to stay in that house. And so they're actually my cousin's cousin, right? They're the cousins of my cousin. And so I just they were very honest, and they said, "Look, we have some issues with some things that were in that place." And that's not why they left. I mean, just things ran their course and they got another place. And so I just said, okay. And so for a few months, I felt no need to take it over or do anything. I just was like, well, I mean, it's just there. We'll just slowly fix it up and whatever. And eventually the plan is to move into it. Right. But we're that's just for the ranch. That's not our normal where we stay. We have to stay in town. We have a very thriving business here in town. Right. And so I said, what we'll do is we will slowly, when we get a chance, but me, Anthony, and Tony are three of the busiest people on the planet. And so he didn't want to leave. Well, his room in particular, where he's going to be at, is in the back. And the reason it's in the back, and I'm telling you this, right? You might see it on the show because we're going to do some stuff there, right, for the show. Well, that particular room has been notoriously haunted. So last night, with nothing in there, before some of the furniture and stuff was getting moved in to the back house, as we call it, or the main house, whatever. I decided to go around and check these spots. The two spots that I was told about, 100% correct. What they told me about those particular two spots, 100% correct. One area, yeah, very, very haunted. Someone please click on the link. That video explains pretty much everything. What is he talking about?
There is no link. I don't know what he was referring to.
Okay, Roderick, you're welcome to stay as long as you're not causing problems with this. I don't know what you're talking about, Roderick. We've had some issues, so whatever. So we went into this place I went to this spot in the back, and I felt something there, and I got the image of like a man or something in my mind. I don't know. And that's on one side of the house. And so I walked over to the other spot where my brother's room is going to be. And the reason he's going to have that back room very quickly is because the animals will be in the back there. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And so with the dogs we have, and then the dogs we're planning on getting, and then the animals we're going to have back there, he's going to need to be able to see there. Now, the problem is there's a lot of wild hogs and coyotes, right? And you're going to have to be able to hear and pay attention. If you're up in the front of the house, because this is a big, like, 4-bedroom ranch house. If you're at the front of the house, you may not be able to hear it, right? So it's best if he's back there. So it's not really a choice. We kind of have to have him there because he'll be there all the time. And then Loki will be up front with his trailer or whatever. And so that's how it's kind of set up, right? And like I said, we'll make some videos and you'll see what we're talking about because we're going to be doing some stuff. Well, I go into the bedroom where my brother's going to be staying, and I felt spiritually attacked like immediately. And it wasn't but maybe 10 minutes later, Logie comes up and he says, dude, I felt something weird on me. And he didn't even know what I was doing. He was busy with Anthony and Adrian and Tony and my brother moving stuff. And I went over there to try to deal with this situation. And it was a fight, like immediately. What was there did not want to leave. And it was aggressive. And I felt like I had a hard time breathing. And I even felt like it was putting pressure on my body, and all the hair on my body was standing up. And I looked into the window. We had the blinds up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I look into the window and I see eyes, like two white eyes. Not big. They weren't really large. They were just kind of like, about like that, like maybe, yeah, I'd say like about, I can't do it with my hand without turning my hand. Probably about the size of dimes, right? Just little dimes, about the size of dimes. And I thought maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe it was the lighting or something, because the lighting is weird in there, right? So yeah. There's two, and they're spread about this far apart, right? So that's about human eye, whatever. And okay, so what really got me was that there was nobody there, and all I saw was black, and I just saw the two eyes. And then I saw them, like, imagine if the two eyes, and I saw like somebody's like head tilt like this and kind of go like that. Like they were moving, like if a person was moving their body to make their head move around. And the eyes stayed like this, like that, And I was like, and it was Dude, it was right there, like right there in my face. I was like right there, and I was staring right at it, and it was just as close as could be. And my impulse, my instinct, whatever, everything was to just run out of there and not confront this thing and not deal with this thing. But my brother's been sick recently. He's had some issues, and I'm like, no, no, I can't. I need to be able to, he's got to be able to sleep there and be okay. So Anthony had brought me the Saint Benedict medal, and we have like these. It's like a neck, like a kind of like a necklace,
like prayer beads.
Prayer beads, yeah. But and they're like wooden or whatever, and it's like a pretty piece, but it's made for. So I tied mine in rebuke in the name of Christ, and I put it on the window. And when I started saying it, I didn't see the eyes anymore, and it looked like they moved away from the window, and whatever it was moving back out into the field through the back. You have the backyard that's fenced off, and then there's a big pasture back there. Then there's like two smaller pastures that are whatever. And so it disappeared. And yeah, it was freaky. It was crazy. And I told everybody, I was like, we have a problem. This, when I went around the other side, I started to tie, bind, and rebuke every room in the name of Christ, pleading the blood of Jesus over everything in that house, everybody, the animals, everything. When I got to the other side where I had that other entity, which I think these were two different things, they felt different. This thing started becoming like it was stubborn. It did not want to go. And then I went back over to, and so I went back over to the other side, and this, I don't know what this was, but I heard something like come out of that room. And Anthony, you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them what happened.
Well, I was going to say, like, from my perspective, it seemed like this thing was like skittering around the whole time when you would go into a room and start praying and start rebuking it. I just like, I got this feeling and this kind of like mind's eye image of something leaving the room, but it would like, because like these things take advantage of technicalities, so like if you go into a room and you in earnest rebuke something and command it to leave in the name of Christ, it will, but it seemed like it was leaving that room and going into another one, just like skittering around from room to room, playing like hopscotch. It was like whack-a-mole, put it that way. And that's why the first
it ran up the stairs.
Yeah, and that's why the first thing I did when I got that feeling that it was just playing around, making you play whack-a-mole, that is opened up all the windows and all the doors and just propped everything open, so that it would take the path of least resistance and eventually just have to leave, because these things, they can go through walls, they can go through doors, windows, but the thing is that's not free. That requires more energy than just leaving out of a window, so and then on top of that, like, I mean, I took it seriously and immediately, because I had talked to the little boy who used to sleep in that bedroom, and he said that these men in masks, these people in masks, that's what he called them, because he's a little kid, and that's all he could relate to, or like that's how he described it, that at night when he was asleep, that they would come to him at night, and one of them would come to him in his room, and he would talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him, well, what does it tell you?
Dude.
Yeah. And I asked him, well, what does it tell you? And he says, he tells me, I'm gonna follow you until the day you die. I'll always be here. So yeah, there was something in that room specifically that was like preying on him, and it stayed behind, or something. There's probably more than one thing in that house at that time, and then something left, but something also stayed whenever they moved out.
Yeah, and he said there was more than one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he talked about there being multiple, and the way he described they were wearing like whitish gray masks, and they were skinny. It almost sounded like he was talking about grays, like alien grays.
Yeah,
guardian angel. No, this was something evil. I mean, and it was terrorizing him. And that's one of the sons. Now, one of the other children, all the children that stayed there had like terror stories of things that they had heard and seen and whatever, and so did the adults. The one person I would like to get on the show is their mother, and she talked about her one son. I'm not going to say their names on the show because I haven't told them. I told them I could talk about it. They hadn't told me one way or the other, so I'm not going to do that. But her one son, he claims to have been in hell, and that Jesus came to him and pulled him out of hell and put him back on earth. I'm not joking. And we were all sitting out front one night, and it was me and Nellie and Anthony, and I think Maddie and Tony. We were all there.
Yeah.
And when she was telling us this encounter, this story, she was talking. She's like telling him, "Hey, tell the story to They call me Uncle Wolf. So tell Uncle Wolf what happened." And he comes up to me and he starts telling me. He says, "I was in hell, and Jesus came, and told me." And so I was just blown away by this. This is a child. I mean, and I don't think they're just like their imaginations are just running wild. I think that this is something that happened. And because he tells it so like it really did. And when he was young, he would talk about, a time before when he was an adult and stuff. I don't know. It's really weird. And they're Christian. They don't have any belief of that. But it got really weird with the other child who was staying in that room to the point where and there's an upstairs, right? There's an upstairs which was like the attic, but they turned it into a really nice bedroom, big, nice, spacious bedroom, huge closet. It's really pretty. It's a nice, pretty place. And so when I was Anthony was standing there, and then Logie was on the other side of me, and your brother was behind you, and I heard something go up the stairs, like from the bedroom. And I said, that thing just went upstairs. So you can't just go, "Oh, well, I chased it off up there now." No, you have to go and confront. And so I went up the stairs into that particular bedroom, and I had to tie Brian rebuke. And
Yeah, it was stubborn.
it's stubborn. It doesn't want to go. It doesn't want to leave. But you have to go, and you have to be strong, and you have to claim authority. And you have to say, "Look, this is my property now. I didn't invite you here. If someone else invited you here, that invitation is now revoked. They don't live here. I live here now. This is my place. My people live here. I plead the blood of Jesus over everything. Your people, your family, your people, your pets, everything." And so I just completely just renounced it, denounced it, whatever, and was like, "No, we're not doing this where you hang around at my place. That's not going to happen." And when I went outside, I was all alone in the back, and everybody was doing whatever they were doing. And I walked all the way around that property, all the way around the house, and continued to fight with this stuff. And and it was being defiant, did not want to go. And I was just like, too bad. I mean, and I kept on, and I had to go into the barn, and I had to go into, there's two barns, and there's two hangars on the property. It's a big property. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And then, like I said, up front, there's like this, double wide, that's like a kind of like a bunkhouse, it's got bedrooms or whatever. And yeah, we've had issues at the bunkhouse too. We've had issues there. My brother has had some problems there. And so the people that live in the big house in the back, the ranch house, it looks like to me it used to be a barn, and there was another house that was up front, and those people, like, it got like tore down, like maybe probably a long time ago. And they turned that barn, because I think it was all a barn at one time. That's what it looks like anyway. And they turned it into a house, like a barn dominium. And so that's what they did. And so I'm thinking that, oh my gosh, bless you. I'm thinking that house probably has been there since the 80s. But the other house got tore down like 20 years ago. I saw some pictures or whatever, but it was probably there since the 60s, 50s or 60s. And it wasn't a big old dilapidated house. There was a giant tree, and I guess something had happened, like it collapsed or something, and you could see where the tree used to be. And maybe there was not a hurricane, a tornado or something. I can't remember what the story was. I was told, but they said, yeah, there used to be a house right there, and it's not there now. So I don't know the whole story of the property. I just know from when my people first went there, and they were staying up in that front house. Probably, I don't remember when they moved in over there. At least 12 years ago, probably. And then they stayed in the big house for 8 years. So 4 years there and 8 years. So they've been on that property 12 years. The neighbors around there have told us that it's a nice, peaceful place. But get this, sometimes they hear weird noises. And I've actually been out there at night sitting in front of the bunkhouse because we stayed there temporarily while we were getting the house we bought in Cedar Park remodeled. And I mean, everybody knows where I live now. I mean, what does it matter? Yeah, so we were, I was there out in front of the house, and I was on the phone with a witness. And it gets pitch dark out there by the bunkhouse. The whole property gets really dark, right? But we have lights in the big house back. There's lights everywhere. And we have hangars too, like there's hangars. But there is a humongous property there, right? So this area of the front of the house where I was at, I could hear something, and like it sounded like it was far away, but it sounded like a grunting, growling noise. And I was on the phone with a witness, and they were talking to me, and I had my phone muted. And you know how we have a spotlight, not a spotlight. What's it called?
Like a motion light?
Motion sensor light. Like when you go up you get close to the deck right there at the bunkhouse, the light comes on, right? And so the light didn't come on, nothing came on, but I heard bipedal footfall. So I thought it was like a person, but it was loud and it was big. And knowing what I know and knowing what these things do and how they are, I thought, okay, this is where I rolled my windows up, and that motion sensor light didn't come on. And so I thought, this is weird. So I'm sitting there listening to this person give me their encounter, and I'm in my vehicle, in one of the vehicles, and I hear to the left of me like a loud grunt, and I turned to look, and I just saw this big, like, giant shadow head, like, go, like it was up high, and then it just kind of came down and like got in my face real quick and then backed up and was gone and like ran back out into the darkness. And I thought, did that just really happen to me? I mean, y'all know about this. So that was weird. And I was just sitting there going like, what the heck was that? I didn't get a good look, any kind of actual description. I didn't see like eyes like I saw last night. I saw eyes, like they were eyes. This was not that. It was just like a giant shape, like and I just told the witness, I said, "Oh, hold on, something just happened to me." I was like, I'm gonna call you back. So I called into the house where my wife was in there, and I can't remember who all was in there. I think it was Anthony and my wife and my brother or somebody. And so my wife, my brother, and Anthony all come out onto the patio, whatever. I think, or maybe Scorpion was there. There were like 3 people. And it wasn't that late. It was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And sometimes there's traffic on that road. I mean, it's not like it's dead. But yeah, it was weird. Like there was no traffic for like an hour. And I was just sitting there listening. And my neighbors, even though on that side they're a little older, they live on those acres, right? They're renters, right? And they've been there for a long time, and they're elderly. And so they're pretty peaceful, pretty calm, level people. There's never had much of a problem with them. But it was weird. I could see their light on. That's the only light that was really. And then there was a light on in my brother's room, the front room. And it was so dark out there. I mean, it was just so dark. And I guess that was probably over a year ago. Yeah. And so I called to get them to come outside and let the light come on. And so when the light came on, I got out and I'm armed. I got, but I got out and I said, man, you guys aren't going to believe something just happened to me. I got to call this witness back. So I wanted to be outside, but I decided against it, and my instinct was to like go in the back patio on the back deck and just sit there and finish talking. But I just couldn't trust it. I don't know what that was. And so there have been some weird things that have happened on the property. Multiple people have heard and seen weird things. And we'll get into it one day, not tonight, but like I said, it's real. So one of the things we're hoping to do with taking over the whole property is that now we will be able to not only, do what we want to do with it, which is, open up a petting zoo or like, a place where people can come and see the animals, and that's kind of a petting zoo, but, and then we're going to create a channel based on our animals out there. I think everybody would enjoy that, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you like to see us out there with the animals, the little baby animals and stuff? I think it would be cool. And so I think that's what we're going to do. But it's also going to be an opportunity for us to be able to go out onto that property and investigate. Because toward the back end of that property, there's been a lot of weird activity back there over the years. So over the last dozen years or so, I've known people living there. And there has been some weird activity. So, yeah, Ignis, we're doing that too. We're doing a whole thing. We're building garden. We're out there working every day, trying to spruce it up, clean it up, and just get it ready to go. And we'll be putting our animals out there real soon. I mean, we have animals that live there already. Like it's not barren, but there's not as many as we're going to have. Eventually, we're going to have. Yeah, Blackjack says there's going to be but Blackjack, go get your name in green and go watch the predecessor episode of this one, which was the members only. And you can hear not only Pierre's story that happened to him and when they basically abducted Tobias and made him go back to the scene of the almost mauling. And yeah, it took a lot of balls from Tobias to go back out there. I applaud him for being brave. But being brave, you got to be careful too. Don't be stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm just saying you went out there again. I wouldn't have. But here's what happened. They go back out there and something happens, and then there's an entire story behind what this thing could be. I personally don't know if I believe that story, but I think maybe people just tell stories to make up what this phenomenon could be. But who knows? So Randy has a question. Anybody want to answer that? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Let's see. What's the difference between a gator man and a reptilian?
Yeah, what do y'all think it is?
To me, a reptilian would be more humanoid, like, and probably have like a higher level of sentience. Like, okay, whenever I think of reptilian, think of like V, like that show V, like they're gonna be like have humanoid bodies with a reptilian face and reptilian eyes, but like not so much the snout. This gator man seems like a werewolf, but like a gator version of a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
It's still gonna have it's still got that snout, that gator head, but it's anthropomorphic.
Kind of reminds me of Sobek.
Yeah, that too. Oh, I was gonna ask you earlier too. So he said that he had this dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it came down out of like this orb.
Mm-hmm.
But that when it came down, he said it was like a gator, but not really. Like, what did he go into more specifics?
Well, okay, so we were talking earlier, not the audience, but y'all are privy to things that the audience doesn't really know. And we were talking about Richland's story. You know, Richland,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so here's a guy who, and I could tell that story, and Brian from Florida, I could tell his story too, and we could do that on Wednesday. But then it's like, you know, how many are we going to tell of these? We got to get back to doing other stuff. But I don't know if you're a members only, or if you're on the Patreon, or even if you're not, but especially if you're on Patreon or members only, tell me what you want to hear, because we can get into another members only episode, and you know, in a couple of weeks, and do Richland's story. Now, Richland, I'm saying his name wrong. It's Richland. Richland has a story to tell. I kind of teased him. He's a guy with 2 last names. My cousin's like that. His name is Turner Fleming. But here's the thing. I told him, I said, you know, what he witnessed seemed more alien-like, right? So when he contacted me, he was one of the 2 other stories that we got of what could be a Gator man. Now, I was reminded today, who was, I think Nellie, was it her? Nellie told me in the vehicle, she's like, you need to remind people of that story. No, who was it? No, it was Maddie. It was Maddie. She said it, and then Nellie backed her up or reiterated it, I believe. But somebody in the vehicle today, we were talking about these encounters, and we were discussing it. And one of the things that came up, and this is interesting, was that this creature in Cairo, do you remember that? It was a cab driver. Now, this wasn't like, you know, this story, we told this one way back on the show, way back in the loop. And if I remember correctly, the story was that somebody had gotten into and I can't remember if that was a story that was in like a book or something that we had read, that I had read. And I remember retelling the story like it was in this book. I think it was in a book about the Jinn. I think so. And I don't know if it was Rosemary Ellen Guy, if it was Legends of the Fire Spirits. Those are great books. I mean, those books will just blow you away. But we've covered those books, and we've talked to the different people, you know, that have told us about different sort of authors and everything. But I want to say that it was in one of those books, and it was somebody's story that we retold on the show. And it was this person that got into their cab, and they had their head covered like in a turban, and they had their face covered. And then when they went over this bridge, this creature, well, this being told them, stop the car. When they stopped the car, they jumped out, and they had like a tail, and they were turning it like they were transforming, and they took that shawl off their head and they jumped into the water. And the driver was so freaked out, and I guess he looked or something and saw a crocodile swimming. So that story came up, right? Today. It was Nellie and Maddie talking about it, and that we should reiterate that story. But this isn't about Sobek. Sobek has been in some stories on the show. There was a woman who got in touch with me from 2 of them, Antwerp, Netherlands, I believe. Then there was another one who she was playing with something like an amulet. It was like but she said it was like a crocodile head on one side and like a turtle on the other. And she fell asleep looking at it. But she said, I wasn't even looking at the crocodile side. And I laid it down on my chest and I went to sleep. And I said, yeah, but think about it. The crocodile side was facing upward. But she had a dream about Sobek. And I can tell you that woman's story too. But in between that, I have to tell you the story of the Tolpic werewolves of Brazil, the Lobozan. I need to get to those. So that's probably going to come up on Wednesday. We're going to do the Tolpic werewolves of the Lobozans of Brazil. And then we'll get back into some more of this weird gator man, crocodile-headed people business, right? I personally, I could tell you what I think these things are, but then that takes all the fun out of it, right? If I just told you exactly what they are, right? Or do you want me to tell you? I could tell you exactly what they are. What I think they are, but that doesn't mean that's what it is, 100%. Here's a weird side note to this too. One time when I was talking to a woman from Puerto Rico, she was telling me a story about a chupacabra, one of these little reptilian creatures. And she said that there was this guy that had a gator or a crocodile like in a pond, and it ate one of them. like flat out. I could hear this old guy in the background. Like I'll be talking, and then while they're talking, people will always, because you know what it is like they're like, oh, I'm not interested in that. It was like last night we were hanging out with your dad and your uncles.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the backyard talking about something that grabbed his uncle while he was sleeping, and his uncle's wife was like, yeah, there's this entity that is in our house, and I actually think I might have seen a glimpse of it when I was going to the restroom. I saw something move back there in the corner of the house, and that's there was nobody over there. Everybody was over here. So I don't know what that was. So then she says, yeah, we have this spirit here that does whatever. Well, everybody's all like, oh yeah, that's weird stuff. But then the next thing you know, everybody's around listening, right? Because she's telling the story. Well, that's what happens to me a lot. I'll be on the phone with somebody and they'll be telling me this story, and there'll be somebody in the background talking, and then they'll kind of be like, oh, whatever, don't let me interrupt. And then they'll keep interrupting. And then they'll start talking, and they'll tell you some stuff too. Even though 10 minutes before they're like, oh yeah, well, that's a bunch of hooey. But well, let me go ahead and tell you what happened. I probably should interject and tell you. It happens quite frequently. And then you'll talk to a husband or wife, and they'll be like, look, I could tell the story better than you,
That's not how it happened.
So to get the best part of the story, you got to pit them against each other. You're like, yeah, sounds like he's challenging you. You should probably tell me everything that's ever happened to you. And then he's like, oh yeah, I'll do one better. I'll tell you everything's happened to me and my grandparents. Oh, okay. That's how you get the stories right there. But no, just kidding. What happens though with this weird Sobek creature? Like it showed up when the guy with the Anubises. Do you remember the Anubises?
Mm-hmm.
That was Mark, and he's actually, we know Mark personally. Like we know who he is. Like I've known Mark for years, and he's not a liar, dude. Like I ran into him at one of the UFO conferences, and he was just real cool, like very open or whatever. And I was with Ken and a couple of people, and he started just talking about this, stuff or whatever. And he's been remote viewing and doing all this for a long time, because he died when he was a child in Minnesota. And is that on the pre-record or what is that?
Yeah, that's a pre-record.
Yeah, you guys got to go, and that is that's a members, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get the members only, because then you get Mark's encounter. So he was working for some, and it's funny we're talking about France, right? He was working for some. Was it French or Dutch?
No, it was French.
French, okay. He was because he did both, but at this point he was working for a French military people, whatever. And he ended up like talking about these weird entities that he had run into, and we were going back and forth, and I was listening to him, and Anthony was listening, and then he started talking about the Anubis thing. I said, "Whoa, wait a minute, that's weird, dude." I was like, tell me about that. These Anubises. I don't know if we released that yet.
I think we have.
Okay. So anyway, but then there was this weird. Sobek was like there. It was like one of these two of these crocodile-headed beings that came with them to retrieve this entity. Yeah, it was really freaky, dude. And so he's telling us this, and we're up late at night, we're listening to, and I'm like, well, that's weird as hell. But it's PRT. We talk about weird stuff all the time. And it is the real reality. Like it's the reality that people don't really like. It's uncomfortable, whatever. But then some people like you guys, you want to know. And so yeah, that's another time that showed up. And then again, there was still another one. There was another one from California, Van Nuys, California. There was a woman whose son came back from the military, and he was absolutely plagued by what looks like Sobek, like the crocodile-headed demon, and it kept showing up in the mirror and trying to grab him. And at one point, he fell into the tub, and he went to this dark water, and he went down into the earth, and then he woke up and was drowning in the tub. It was so weird. That's a whole. But we can talk about all that. There's a bunch of weird stuff out there. I mean, it never gets old for me. I really love talking about it. Another thing I like to do and I like to talk about is gold and silver. And I want to help you be able to understand and navigate through these troubling times. This is not an infomercial. This is just the truth. And I want you to be able to buy and sell gold and silver, but you don't want to get ripped off. So we released the first episode on Random Files about silver because we're going to take, like I said, some of the more, controversial. Is controversial right? Controversial might be the right word.
Yeah.
We're going to take that to the real Random Files on Rumble, and we're going to do some shows. We're going to coming up in April. We're probably going to be doing 2 shows a week on Random Files at a minimum. One of them is going to be the more tame, but very informative and very fun stories that we're going to do. We're going to do one on Peter Pan. I bet you didn't know the facts that I'm going to spit out to you about him and who created him. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about a bunch of different stuff. I got a bunch of different shows planned for Random Files. We are this close to getting monetized there. So please, if you would, go like and subscribe and give it a listen. I know I talk a lot of crap, but it's worth it, dude. It's worth it for me. For you to go listen and let me talk crap. Everybody's like, wait, what? What are you talking about, boy? What you talking about, Willis?
Can I offer you an egg in these trying times?
Can I offer you an egg in these troubling times? Can I offer you an egg in these troubling times? I don't know. How about some cat food?
And glue.
Yeah. What about this picture? Is it crooked? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No, I think what we need to do though, like we're going to do Random Files at least twice a week. Probably going to do one that's going to be on YouTube, and then another one that's going to go straight to the real Random Files on. That's going to be the war and all these people that run everything. We're going to talk a lot about those douchebags, and we're going to get into the e-files. Because unlike a lot of people, me and my team have actually paid attention to what's going on. I see a lot of people talking and they don't really know. They just talk and they're regurgitating things and they're barking like trained seals. And you don't know. Don't pretend like you do. So we're going to get into it next month. We're going to be doing a lot of work on Random Files. Also, don't forget Dead Zone Transmissions, and there's going to be an episode coming up on True Crime Paranormal, and it's going to cross over PRT, Random Files, True Crime Paranormal, and Dead Zone Transmissions, and you're going to be not knowing what's going on if you don't pay attention to all 4. So remember, that's coming up real soon. That will be coming up toward the end of April, so you need to get yourself ready, get yourself going. We have to do a lot of work, and so True Crime Paranormal, this was it. We did Samuel Little, right? We're done.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who we're talking about next week? The son of Sam. And you're probably like, I've already heard all this stuff. No, you're not like this. You haven't. And what if I told you that Son of Sam maybe, well, you've heard the theories, I'm sure, but what if I told you that he probably didn't work alone? And the longer the time period away from when it actually happened goes, the more evident it actually becomes that it was the work of a cult. And what could be going on with this? And are those people still active? You bet you they are, because these people don't go away. Evil doesn't die. It just evolves and slithers away and then goes back and comes back and messes around. That's why you got to tell it, don't come back. You were not welcome to come back. You were not welcome here. Take your refuge elsewhere, but not here. You will have no rest in my house. You're not going to give me peace. I'm not giving it to you. I don't want some parasitic entity draining me or trying to drag me out of my body. Don't do that. Don't let them do it. Yeah. So Jamie John says he worked with the neighbor's dog. Yeah, it gets real weird. But we're going to talk about him, David Berkowitz, who he was and what he was doing and who was he possibly working with. All that and more coming up next Saturday at 7:00 on True Crime Paranormal. Get your popcorn ready, because we're going to go and get really deep into it. We aren't getting huge numbers on that channel yet, but we're getting a steady, people coming back and listening. And we are talking about maybe just doing it where we video record too, just because it just gives you something to look at, if you want to do that. It's much easier for us to do the audio and more smooth, but we're going to figure it out. If it takes you guys having to look at us, then you can look at us.
Can you see me?
All right, guys. So anyway, that's what's going on. We'll see you later. Thank you for listening. I guess we could play Caesar's a long song, but if you guys want to check out, go ahead. We'll see you. Good night. Yours is?
Times of trouble, a pardon granted, no future, no fame, only a noble man's name, guilty by association, demands he would not stand, with a sword in his hand. He left to fight in foreign lands. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Blood and bone, eventually the throne. This to him was intent unknown. A civic crown upon his head was bestowed for saving his fellow Romans. Fearless in battle, war after war, never bending or breaking. A name himself he was making. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man. Absurdity. Raised the ransom to 50. He swore to crucify them all once he was free. A promise he kept for their piracy. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man. Crassus, the rule of three. A power behind the scenes, alliances made in secrecy. Julius reached the heights of command, sent to Gaul with an army in hand to conquer the foreign land. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, by Caesar's hand Gaul would fall. Loyalty and power was building. Treasures and gold sent back to Rome. But whispers arose, senators' hearts filled with fear, for Julius' power was clear. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, Rome was calling, stripped of his command. Julius had to make a stand. An act of war to cross the Rubicon together. The die was cast, he crossed with his army. Pompey defeated, Julia. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, self-appointed liberators gathered together, weaving their wicked tale, within them only betrayal. In marble halls, rumors were spoken, prophetic nightmares, so many warnings, but he kept ignoring. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar, a man for the people. Hail Caesar. Caesar went that day into the theater of Pompeii. The signal was given from behind. The first blow. Quickly surrounded, one by one, blow after blow. Pure chaos. Some watched, some ran, as they executed their plan. Julius in fight, when Brutus stepped into sight. The betrayal, he couldn't believe. Julius stopped resisting, his body weakening, as his life slipping.